What is up? And welcome to the link. First and foremost, you all look amazing. I feel like I need to like step my link dress game up. Even though Kai's giving us very like relaxed chic, and then like Rogelio is giving us curls for weeks, not days. And Daniel's serving face. I love it. Welcome to the link. My name is
Thank
Kai.
you.
This is a collaboration between APLA and Pyro Media Network, funded by the CDC. So again, my name is Ty. I'm the friendly linkage to care specialist. Anything HIV is all me. Look at that. Pyro Media Network, APLA Health, CDC, and together they make the Powerpuff Girls. I want you all. I want to introduce you to my co-host today. Let's start with Kai. Kai, tell the people who you are.
Hi everybody, my name is Kai Smith. I am choose dehydrated. I'm for a healthy him and the Swab and Chill program. I'm gonna drink some water to do this. Get away from me.
What's going on, everybody? I am Daniel J. I am the prevention training specialist for Swab and Chill because what? We want to make sure that you have your sexual health in the palm of your hands. Your at-home HIV testing kit initiative. Yes, that's me.
Hey everyone, I am Rogelio. I am your coordinator for Trans Connections, our program for transgender persons of color, 18 to 29.
And we all just look like a table of very friendly people in the lunchroom. You can sit with us. So let's start.
I don't know. I got restrictions.
No, yeah, you can sit with us, but you have to be socially distanced, 6 feet apart with a mask on, and on Wednesdays we wear pink. Let's get into our first segment. It's called What's Poppin'. Look at that. The graphics always make me happy. So what is the latest gossip? What are you all looking at on the internet? I have been so social media deprived for the past couple of days. I don't know what's going on besides the fact that everybody is irritated at J-Lo making a love don't cost a thing challenge and throwing all of her good jewelry in the sand. And I don't have good jewelry to throw in the sand, so I won't be partaking in that challenge. I can't even do the busted challenge because I have bad knees. But what's going on? What is going on? What's going on in the world?
I mean, we haven't talked. Oh, go ahead. We haven't talked since the inauguration, so that's definitely like it feels like so long ago already, which is wild.
I know. Yeah,
but you were talking about J-Lo's challenge. I was still thinking about her "Let's Get Loud" at the end of that song. I was just like, oh no, who asked J-Lo to be a part of this? Like,
you didn't like the "Let's Get Loud" portion of her performance?
Listen, I'm like a pretty admitted like J-Lo hater. Like, I don't know why they reached out to her.
Fair. It's healthy. Yeah. It's healthy.
Right. We all need that one, right? So yeah, that's what's been on my mind. Just hoping that we get another Latina to take over for, the token Latina representation, because it tends to be J-Lo and.
I thought she looked amazing at the inauguration.
Well, I enjoyed her little Disney performance.
Did you enjoy the Disney performance?
Hello, karaoke.
I enjoyed the little Disney performance. It was cute. She looked fabulous. She came in and she had her line of makeup on. The face was beads. The added vocals in the track that helped to buff her up for singing the elements was, they were on point. Now look,
absolutely,
I understand behind having her up there, and who she represents and how she looks to America. But at the end of the day, I wasn't impressed by any of the performances except for the poetess. She gave me inspiration.
Yes. I can't even think of her name.
Gaga was lackluster.
She was amazing. You didn't like Gaga? I thought Gaga did a really good job.
I mean, she sang the national anthem.
It was very let the odds be ever be in your favor.
Yeah. I mean, we've heard the national anthem sung by so many people in so many better ways. So it was like, yeah, it's a national anthem. You didn't do bad, but you didn't do great.
And she messed up the lyrics. Did you all notice that? She was like about to say something and then she like quickly said, and like.
What's funny though, also too, I wouldn't even have noticed that because I do not sing the national anthem as often as Americans probably should. It's not something that comes into mind. I just stand up and I'm just like, okay, you sing it because that's what they hired you for. You don't need me.
For me,
as a person who has sang the national anthem for quite a few things, sometimes those lyrics escape you because you be in the middle of the melody and be like, "Oh yeah, that's a whole nother verse." I mean, oops, my bad. But y'all gonna get it. Y'all got it.
For me,
Right.
the entire inauguration process felt really weird for me. And this is maybe more of a pessimistic, but like literally a week or two beforehand, we had an insurrection. And now we have our president elect talking about how we need to treat our enemies with love. And I don't know. For me, it's like, if you are a white supremacist, if you're racist, homophobic, transphobic, I really don't need to come and reach out with you for love.
No. And I have the right to say that. I get to choose who's in my space. And if you are racist, transphobic, white supremacist, like you cannot get in this space safely.
I wish that, the president would have said in his speech, America is not a place for racism. It is not a place for transphobia. It's not a place for this. We will not be tolerated. But instead we got hit with a big old, hey, love your enemies. No, I don't need to love my enemies.
We need a strong Republican Party.
No.
Yeah, no.
For me, Miss Jennifer Lopez, I said this to Rogelio, I said this, I think I've said it to everyone I've talked to. She's got the best manager ever because where she came from, who knows? Lyrics, for me, her singing the song is such a weird thing because, bye, Daniel.
She'll be back. Back from break.
He was having technical issues.
Having Jennifer Lopez, a woman who has built a career off of Black women's talent, has built a career off of cultural appropriation, then sing a song called This Land Is Your Land, This Land Is My Land, and we know we're on stolen land, was just a really weird moment for me watching the inauguration. I was like, oh, we're doing it.
I mean, she does think all the lands are her lands. Like,
that song needs to be taken out of all of these practices if we're going to be correct.
The funny thing too is that song was actually written by like a socialist back in the day. So like it was done as an alternative to like counter the Declaration or not the Star Spangled Banner to be like this is our country. We're that kind of thing, like a collectivist kind of thing. But yeah, it was definitely disappointing to see J-Lo's rendition. And like I'm maintaining that they had Ashanti
thing challenge. Are you guys going to do that? You guys want to go to the beach and throw your jewelry in the sand?
No, I don't have nice things to throw away. Plus, it looks you're gonna have to pick that stuff up. Come on, like she did that. You're way too late. You're too, and I don't want to bash Jennifer Lopez more than I do on a daily basis. But it's once again J-Lo's doing something that Black culture has created and really taken off on, and she's trying to kind of have her own little stamp and say on it. And I don't know, maybe sit this one out, girl. Especially with that.
Listen, that'll be nice. But enough J-Lo bashing. What else is going on in the world right now? Like I said, I've been social media deprived. So after the Love Don't Cost a Thing challenge, I've taken a really, really good break from social media just for my mental health, which all of us on this panel know that's very important. Sometimes I don't care about what other people are posting, and I have that right. You guys, what have you all been interested in? What's going on in the news besides Drake pushing his album back and me being upset about it?
I don't know.
Other than the fact that Trey Songz is fighting policemen.
Oh God.
I wasn't upset about that. I was actually okay with that. I was all right. I know we can't promote that, but I was actually all right with that. We don't know the full story.
So apparently Trey Songz was at a stadium game and there were some security there that saw him without his mask and asked him to put it on, and he apparently refused or whatever the case may be. They then called the cops. The cops came and basically got very aggressive and he fought back. And a lot of the witnesses are saying that the cops handled the situation completely just wrong. And that the force that they showed him was not appropriate. Other people are saying, well, he should have never fought back the police. And so now he's being charged with, I believe, reckless endangerment, attacking an officer, and not following.
Can I start with one question first?
For a stadium.
Maybe you can assist me with this first question. So when did they start allowing people at games, like with COVID
this is
and all that?
Kansas City, Missouri. This is Kansas City, Missouri.
I don't even know where that is. So, okay, that makes sense.
So, I mean, at the end of the day, I feel like, number one, my first question is, you have how many people in a stadium watching a game, and you're going to pop off because one individual doesn't have a mask on in the open air? Okay, sure. That's valid. I was like, I don't know. It seems a lot, but again, because it's Trey Songz, I think the situation is definitely bigger than what it is. But his mugshot was cute.
I would have expected nothing less from Mr. Trigger Trey. I think that he's one of those type of people that practices a mugshot.
Oh, album covers. That's all he's ready for. Album covers.
You got one chance. Believe me, I'm serious. You got one chance.
Have you all heard about the debacle? Not even the debacle, the trash of a song called "Yellowbone" by Miss Danny Lay.
By Miss Danny Lay.
By Miss Danny Lay.
So the song, before we even started about the issues with the song itself, I don't know if anyone else has heard it. It is, when I heard it, I was like, this is a real song.
I think that most of her songs give me that same impression where I'm kind of just like, this isn't real. Like, it sounds like a lot of like Yo Gabba Gabba Nick Jr. stuff. So I didn't know.
She started off as a dancer too, a la J-Lo, to bring it back to that.
We need to stop doing that.
Right. So it's like, stick to what you're good at, girl. And also like, I actually saw, if y'all are familiar with the YouTube channel for Harriet, she had a really great video breaking it down and speaking a little bit about like that whole like tendency for racially ambiguous people to take up a lot of space, like in Black conversations. So I thought that was really good if anybody wants an in-depth analysis of that B-sides.
I'm actually going to take a look at that. Hi, you listen to the actual song?
I mean, the snippet that she put, that was a minute. The whole song, I don't even think it's ever going to be released now. But it was bad.
Daniel,
well, I did watch. I listened, and I feel like at the end of the day, because I was on a Clubhouse call, you know, when it kind of broke and people were talking about it. And on one hand, I feel like I understand the disdain for the song. I understand the reaction to the song, because it is, you know, we're in an era right now where we're really celebrating Black women, specifically dark-skinned Black women who do not get a lot of kudos for their beauty because of this European standard of beauty. In the small caveat of that, I will always believe that it's okay to pump yourself up. But the lyrical content of that song is a literal slap into the face of DaBaby's ex-girl, who is a dark-skinned chick. You know, when you say, you know, yellowbone, yellowbone, that's what he wants. Like, you're denoting that he wants someone who's lighter skinned versus someone who's dark skinned. And so that's
for
where
those
really
watching, let's just clarify, the reason why DaBaby comes up in this conversation is because him and Danny Lay are a sometimes thing or all the time thing. I don't know.
They're a situationship.
Okay. Like, I didn't even know that they were dating until the song came out. I had no idea.
And then on the flip side of that, I just feel like if you're going to have a song that's going to draw this much controversy, the song should at least be popping.
Right.
And it's so trash on top of trash gets thrown out. That's what it is.
Like with the song, she's weaponizing being light skinned or yellow bone, as she says it, high yellow. Like, she's weaponizing it, first of all. And that's the first issue. Then when the apology came out, she's like, you know, I have Black friends. My man is Black. And I'm like,
I don't like that. I do not care about your sister, cousin's brother's friend being Black. I do not like that. That bothers me.
Another big issue is, once again, your proximity to Blackness has nothing to do with your Blackness. There's a lot of people calling her out too, even though she sent her 23andMe, where she does have like 23% African descent. But if you look at her parents, neither of her parents look any. For her to claim Afro-Latina is a really weird, really hard pull and push for a lot of people. So you've been seeing a lot more conversation about gatekeeping in the Black community. Who is really, or who can be called Black and who cannot be called Black. And the whole idea of the one drop rule, especially on social media, has been a really big conversation that I've been seeing a lot of, that I've been like reading a lot of people. I always stay out of those conversations just because privilege. I'm not going to tell people about my Blackness if they don't, like, I get it.
Ty told me that. I probably won't be engaging in that conversation either.
And then there's a whole nother conversation happening. I know, like in the Clubhouse community, there's a lot of rooms happening, going on, talking about even the term Black, how, you know, a lot of people feel like the term Black is a racist term. It comes from racism. It comes from, you know, something that the slave masters called, you know, our people. And so even the idea of using another word other than Black is a huge conversation happening amongst the ADOS community and people that are part of the Black and brown diaspora.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a lot going on, but at the end of the day, to Miss Danny, girl, if you're gonna be controversial, at least have a poppin' song. And if you're not, girl,
I'd like
keep it in
to
your cell phone,
personally
Danny. Keep it in
invite
your
Miss
cell
Danny
phone.
Lay to come join the link so we can hear about this debacle, what you thought that this debacle was going to do.
I
This
won't
is
be
not
here
your
for
table
that.
talk.
Sorry.
We can pose a couple questions to you, and Miss
You can have
J-Lo.
that Danny on the show, and this Danny will be at home.
I have
Happen
questions.
that day.
So what were you thinking when you wrote this song?
It was a weird thing. But I mean, the last little thing, politics, our current president, he's doing some things. He's made a lot. There's a lot of things. His big one was today that I saw for the Department of Justice. He is now making it basically you can't privatize the prison system, which is huge for Black and brown communities because that's usually why Black and brown people get in jail more is because there's money involved in it. DACA overturning, so now people who are DACA protected have a easier pathway possibly to citizenship.
That was my favorite one thus far. Yes.
We've seen legislation on ICE. We've seen things about racially profiling. We've seen overturning of transgender
military ban.
Doing things. So I won't talk too bad about the president. I said earlier we're going to bully the president for him to continue to do said he was going to do.
And we still can. Joe forgets stuff. We might as well.
Look, as long as he's
very
Let me just say this, though, for people who are doing their taxes for 2020, look, Trump's administration signed a tax bill in 2017. So please don't come on social media blaming Biden because your tax return is not what you feel it should be. That got nothing to do with Biden's administration. That's the whole entire Trump administration bill that was signed into place. Because, honey, when I did my taxes and I looked at the number, I was like, what? I made this much and I'm getting this much? Oh, yeah, I blew a gasket.
Yeah. Oh, really quickly before we move on, I did want to address one thing just because I got a lot of DMs on Facebook about a post that I made. I stand by the idea that people can choose whether or not they choose to get this vaccine. If they do not get the vaccine, do not push your ideals on them. And the people that are getting the vaccine, please stop sending them images and stories that are not from reliable sources about people passing away. I do not care that your aunt is a nurse. You are not a nurse. You probably have not seen your doctor in the past year. So let's not do the whole, you should get the vaccine because of this and you shouldn't get the vaccine because of that. Let everyone decide for themselves. I told a couple people to watch today's show because I wanted to address it very, very quickly. I got a lot of DMs about, well, it's not your place to tell people how to react to certain things, this, and the third. If you have no knowledge about a situation, please stop talking. That's why we're in the predicament that we're in now. So let's not do that.
And furthermore, if it's not your place to tell people how to react, it's no one else's place to ask whether someone got it or not. That's not your business.
Yeah.
If you're that afraid of being out in public, then stay your ass at home, wear a mask, social distance, wash your hands. But the whole asking people whether or not they got vaccinated, that floors.
It's becoming an issue.
It's not your business.
It's not. And I think that all of us can agree on this panel that, when we got presented the opportunity to get vaccinated, we all did what we thought was best for us and our families. And whether it was to get vaccinated or to not get vaccinated, that the decision was ours. It's not something where someone can kind of like persuade you to do something just based off of the way that they feel. We all can be very, very safe if people decide whether to get it or not to get it. So to clear that up really, really quickly.
I don't think there's
talking to me about this.
Yeah, I don't think there's a problem with encouraging people to get it. Like I've been encouraging people to get it. I've been saying if you can get it, I would, and I did.
This is very different than people talking. This is very different than the voting conversation that we used to have about people saying that they weren't going to vote, but had everything to say about the current administration and the administration that was coming in. Please weigh out what it is that you stand for before you start asking other people what they stand for. That's all I'm asking.
Yeah, my big concern is just about the misinformation that's out there because I want people to make this decision based on things that are actually real. I don't want people to make a decision based on, well, I'm going to get COVID, you know, it's vaccine inside the virus, or, you know, well, it didn't go through all the steps, so how do I know that they didn't cut corners? Like, you know, you can make the decision for yourself, but make sure it's an informed decision, just because, you know, you wouldn't want to spread that to somebody else who may not have all the information. So I definitely think you should encourage people to get it, because at the end of the day, we still need a certain number of people to get it in order for it to do its job. And a lot of people are definitely hesitant about it. So I think it's good to encourage people and clear things up, but never say like, oh, well, if you're not getting it, then you're just going to give everybody COVID. Like, are you happy? Do you want to die? Like, have you seen how horrible it is to be on a ventilator? Like, you know, you don't have to, you know, people have seen all the images. Like,
we all watch with
that stuff every single day. So at this point, unless you're like a no masker, COVID denier person, then you know how bad it is. So it's about making the decision based on the information that's available, whether that's, you know, to do it or not.
It's just the scare tactics for me on either side. I just don't like the scare tactics on either side. For people who are promoting to get it, for people who are saying, I don't want it. Like, I've seen both sides use horrible scare tactics to convince the other side to either get it or not to. And like Rogelio said, at the end of the day, make sure it's an informed decision. Even if you have the correct information and you say, you know what, I've looked at the correct information and I still don't think it's for me. Again, personal decision. But people are really like bouncing off the walls with, on both ends, you know, demonizing people who are getting it, saying, oh my God, you're having a chip implanted into your brain, they're going to be able to track you. I'm like, as you talk on your cellular phone,
I wish they would, because I get lost a lot. So I wish they would plant me with the chip. But that's one period.
Bill Gates
FindTie.com.
Bill Gates got the shot. So people were saying like, oh, Bill Gates got the vaccine so he could keep track of Bill Gates, because everybody's like saying like Bill Gates is going to put a microchip in you. So
you know what? And we will have a further discussion about this, because this is a very hot topic, and we will probably make this the main point for another show. But before we go, I actually want to get into a commercial before we get into our new topic. So let's go into this commercial, and then we'll see you right afterwards.
Hey guys, Ty here from APLA Health, and I got some good news for you.
APLA Health is launching our first ever at-home HIV testing initiative.
As we battle the global pandemic of COVID-19 and all that it entails,
APLA Health is doing what we can to fill the gaps for those who are in need of knowing their status, linking to care, and having safer sex options.
The initiative, officially known as Swab and Chill, will be our virtual hub for those seeking to take an HIV test, receive HIV kits, link it to medical care for those who are HIV positive, while also having access to several other programs and services that specialize in harm reduction for HIV infection.
Such services include private PEP information, as well as substance abuse services. Our goal with Swab and Chill is to make HIV testing easily accessible and easy to use within the comfort of your own home.
We provide each client with the OraQuick at-home testing kit. This kit is a simple test that is done by orally swabbing the gums and waiting 20 minutes for your results.
APLA staff is available to virtually assist you while taking the test, while providing resources and support for those who may test positive.
maybe you already know your status and you're just low on condoms and lube due to accessibility. No problem. We can also send you one of our safer sex kits right to your front door.
As we strive to keep our community safer and well informed, your privacy is also a high priority.
All packaging will appear from APLA Health. Our over-the-phone assessments are quick, easy, and secure, so you can feel safe in sharing your results with us and asking any questions that you may have.
If you or someone that you know is interested in having one of our at-home testing kits mailed to you, or you just want more information on what Swab and Chill can provide, please call one of our team members at 323-329-9713, or just email us.
Come swab and chill with 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 us.
And we are back. Look at that. I love that commercial. I love the graphics. Thank you to Pyro Media Network for making us look so official on these Tuesday afternoons. We have
Right.
some news about some upcoming schedule changes coming very, very soon. So stay tuned for that. But right now, I want to get into our main topic, bananas and dingleberries. Yes, we are talking about nuts and butts and everything in between as it pertains to hygiene. So this is one of my favorite topics because it's well, growing up, I didn't really know much about like hygiene for sex. I didn't know anything about douching or anything like that. And to be on a platform where we can actually have a conversation about it. I know some people are cringing, like they're about to talk about douching. Yes, we are. We absolutely are, because it's one of my favorite pastimes. So let's have a conversation as it pertains
Love
to
that.
sexual hygiene. We've all been in circumstances and situations with partners where the hygiene just wasn't up to the standard that we would like. Specifically, if you are, I know that me, I sweat a lot. So we want to go down a couple of like hygiene tips that might help. And sweat during sex is sexy, don't get me wrong, but prior to sex, let's get that sweat off. So let's start off with douching. So how many of you, by show of hands, you don't have to share it, how many of you, by show of hands on this panel, have had a really, really bad experience as it pertains to douching? Raise your hand.
Like me personally, while I was douching, or just I've been with someone who wasn't clean?
You personally while you were doing it.
No.
No. Okay. That's fair.
I mean,
Okay.
Okay. No.
It's one of those conversations where we're going to get comfortable as we go.
Right.
So I'm going to share I'm going to share an experience with me. So I know in the beginning when I started douching, like I was one of the, I don't want to call myself a dodo bird because people do this. So I was one of the people that would use the solution that's inside the fleet. And that's a big no-no. So if you're watching right now, do not use the solution that is inside the fleet. That is not made for the anus. It's not made to clean you out. None of that stuff. So do not use that. It's actually really, really bad for your rectum. But I was one of the people that, like, my first time douching, I used it. And I was like, I don't like how this feels. So wound up, like, doing a whole bunch of research and, like, figuring out the correct way of doing it and using warm water and not, like, overexerting myself and stuffing myself with like 18 different fleets before I use it. And I wound up becoming a douching pro. So here are some of Ty's tips as it pertains to douching, okay? One, take your time. This is not a rushed process. It's a but. You definitely want to make sure that you are not causing any rectal tearing. You're not stretching anything out that doesn't need to be stretched out. We're trying to use special words right now, but everybody watching knows what we're talking about. Do not use the solution that is in the inside of the fleet. That is not made for your butt. It's just not. Use warm water. Definitely don't, like, I learned not to force, like, do not force. You can wind up, getting a hemorrhoid. And also I read that you can have a heart attack like that. Is that true?
I don't know about that.
I know there's a lot of people who have had heart attacks while on the toilet because of exertion, so that's probably what they're thinking. That sounds like you're like at risk already for a heart attack.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. When I read that, I was like, oh no, this is easing out of me completely. But biggest thing from my experience, take your time. If he hits you up at 10:15 and says I'm going to be there at 10:30. He needs to be under the impression that this is not going to be the process that, as a bottom that I would, want for the person that's coming over to, do whatever he's about to do. But take your time. Definitely do not rush the cleaning process as it pertains to your rectum. And don't put soap in your butt. It's not good for your rectum. Do not put soap in your butt. Does anybody have any other tips as it pertains to douching? And use all the language that you want to. We are on here doing it.
With what you said about the 10:15, if he said you up at 10:15 talking about I'm gonna be there at 10:30, honey, that better be an oral transaction only. Okay,
that's all, because you're not going.
What's not gonna happen? Yeah, no, we're not gonna do that.
Right.
So very early on in my douching career, I lived with my parents, and I didn't know shit. There's no
pun intended.
I didn't no pun intended. I didn't know anything. I could not go to the store and buy a fleet. I didn't know what a fleet was. because I was like, first of all, even if I did know what a fleet was, my mother was gonna be like, "What is this? Why is it in my cabinet?" And so I did something that I do not recommend people do because it is very dangerous for your anal tissue. I was using a Coke bottle. And as you know, a Coke bottle has the ridges on the
Wait,
end
I
of it.
really want a screenshot of the
All of our
faces. Your cat faces. Like you said, we're not judging you, but wow, okay.
So I would fill up the Coke bottle, and I would, grease the top, grease myself, and I would literally slide the Coke, like wedge the Coke bottle in, and douche that way. And then I would find like a brush that like had a really long handle to like make sure that everything was like I was doing all kinds of things. Now, mind you, she was very clean. She was very, very clean.
Listen,
those are the
if
things
you,
that
if you
I
were
found
using
myself
a
doing.
Coke bottle to fleet, yes, you were very, very clean.
I mean, look, I'm just saying because I know that there are people out there like if they've never bought them before or they're going to use what they have. They're going to use what they have, and if you're not able to go and buy a fleet, if you don't have the money to buy a fleet or whatever the case may be,
Or
if you don't have the money to buy, shower attachments, or whatever the case may be, like I used what I had and it worked, but it can be very, very dangerous using a soda bottle again because it could tear a lot of tissue. It can tear a lot of tissue. It can be very dangerous, especially if you're sticking like, brush handles up there to make sure that you got everything and you're not pulling out nothing extra. Like it could just be very dangerous to be very careful.
Rogelio clinched when you said the brush handle. Rogelio was like splinters.
That sounds so painful. Like, oh,
it wasn't painful. It wasn't painful for me. Like I said, I made sure that I was very well lubricated in the process.
She's calloused in there.
But when I did graduate to using fleets and whatnot, I did have the experience of using the solution that was in the bottle. And it was the most painful experience of my life. My stomach felt like all of my organs were going to just fall out of my body.
Come out. Yeah, absolutely. Rogelio, you were about to say something. What were you about to say?
No, yeah.
Daniel, thank you for sharing that too. Because, that sounds like a process.
I remembered a couple of stories actually. So like the first one of them isn't like at all sex related. It's just kind of a funny side note. Okay. But when I first started out, I was all like, oh, I'm gonna be the best bottom bitch. I'm gonna buy, a reusable douche with a bulb on it. It's gonna be really cute. And then I bought it and it was just too big. Like, granted, it's not big, but it's definitely one of those things where you kind of have to warm yourself up with before just like going in. Like, a fleet is pretty small. Like you can easily fit a fleet up there. So I remember the first time, I just did a practice run just to be like, let me see how this goes. Like this was before I ever had like penetrative sex, right? And then I was like, just, had it there and I just kept on going and it just like would not go in. And I was just like, what is happening? Like it was so painful too. And I was like, how do people do this? Like people just do this on a whim. Of course I got better over time and now it's pretty easy. I actually still have the same reusable douche, but
nice.
I only use it sometimes.
Listen, has anyone ever used a hot water bottle? Has anyone ever used the hot water, like the old-fashioned hot water bottle?
I've seen it, but I've never. It hangs from the shower.
It was the best thing ever in my life.
Really?
I had one once, and it was it was a joy.
They still have them on Amazon. You're making me about to go buy one.
Right.
Well, I think
look, I'm an older gal, so some of the old ways for me, I'm just like, look, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
I just assumed they didn't do it back then because I know the kids now are on that trend of just, all natural, no douching, just, make sure to clean it out real well in the shower. But, that's never been my tea, but,
It's not my tea either. Kai, what were you saying?
So a lot of things about douching that people don't realize too, it's not just what you're doing to clean it out. Having a healthy diet, high fiber, stuff like that will prevent. So what a lot of people also don't realize, poop just doesn't sit in your butt. Like there's no waiting there. So a lot of people think the moment you put something in there, like you're gonna pull out a brown finger or a brown whatever. That doesn't happen. Physically, it's really kind of up in there. what usually happens when someone paints is just kind of what's left residual, which is what the douching clears out, just kind of what's kind of left in there. So for me, I didn't know about douching until I was 26 years old. Just didn't know.
Okay.
And you know what? I can't explain why. It's the same reason why I didn't know about prep until I was 26 years old. It just wasn't a conversation that was had. No one talked about how we clean.
Arizona.
So for me, when I was having sex younger, if I was going to bottom, one thing I would do is clean myself out in the shower. And so that would just be, I get some soap on my hands and kind of warm myself up with my finger and just keep going until it was clean. It's not safe, not right pH for you shouldn't be putting cleaning things up in there. And for people who do douche often, also think about that too. That's one of the things that no one really talks about. You shouldn't be douching every single day. I know people think I just like it makes me feel cleaner, which I get. It's
you'll wind up getting rid of the good bacteria that you actually have in your rectum if you douche way too much. And like Kai said, as far as cleaning and stuff like that, we'll get into nail hygiene for those that like to do what they need to do. I always check your nails first, but Kai's absolutely correct. So Kai, don't let me interrupt. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, no, and I think so. That's one of the things. Daniel mentioning the Coke bottle, water bottle. Honestly, for people who are out, don't have access to clean water or douching, isn't a bad idea. But don't put the cap really up in there. Just kind of place it against it and squeeze and hope it kind of gets in there. It's a slow process, but it's a possibility for people. One thing I've used, and I've never told anyone this. One thing that has been
it's just between us. It's fine.
It's just
between us girlfriends.
Just between us ghouls.
Yeah, an IV bag. So it kind of like the hot water heater. So getting just an IV bag of just saline solution. You get the little tube. You don't put the actual needle in there, but the tube. You just kind of put it up there. You let gravity just send it all down in. It was a great clean. Great,
like a little enema.
Mm-hmm. It was so great. You can get an IV bag off of Amazon. So if anyone's interested or wanting some good,
but low-key the hot water bottle with the hose is the same idea.
For the most part, yeah.
You fill it up with water and then you stick the hose in there and whoosh.
I think what works best for me is so after my Fleet experience, I upgraded to a shower one. So that helps me a lot more. And like Kai mentioned earlier, the fiber, your diet, all of that good stuff. Now, a lot of people will take fiber supplements and think that it's going to make them just whoosh and everything is supposed to just come out. You have to drink a lot of water. A lot of water. You have to make sure that you are having a consistent bowel movement. I have a squatty potty, so I'm comfortable. So it's different things that you can do. You have to. I guess your douche routine has to be cultivated to your comfort, right? I love the idea of the hot water bottle. I love the idea of the hot water bag or whatever it is. I love the idea of the reusable douche. I think that that's fantastic. I do want to get on the topic of showering and trimming our nails. A lot of people, like Rogelio mentioned, this new generation is all natural. They are very come over as you are, and I want to smell the entire day that you had, and I don't want that. So it's very important to make sure that you are showering, make sure that you are trimming your nails. If you are going to have penetrative sex with your finger, if you're not using a finger condom, those do exist. If you're not using a finger condom, please make sure that your nails are trimmed. Do not go into someone's rectum with a finger, with a long fingernail. That is not comfortable for us.
Or someone's vagina.
Or someone's vagina.
Don't go with any
nails aren't my thing. They're not my thing.
Nails.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. Definitely make sure that you are brushing your teeth before and afterwards, especially with oral sex. Well, not before, because you don't want to cause any lesions in your mouth. But after oral sex, it's fine to brush your teeth and swish a little Listerine up in there to, get the lube out of your mouth if there's lube involved on that. If anybody goes, what is it called? A2M? If anybody does that, you definitely want to make sure that you are gargling. Oh, is it ATM? Ask the mouth? I'll just say it for the people that don't understand. Got it. Yeah. So you definitely want to make sure that you're swishing around a little bit of Listerine in that mouth afterwards because, girl.
Just do it before. In general, before sex, you should really be more mindful. If COVID has taught us anything, people are gross. Disgusting.
Yes, they're nasty.
And that's what really blows. I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
That's what really blows my mind too, is the fact that like I am so self-conscious, especially I feel like also being a bigger person. I feel like I'm always mindful of, the extra smells that can form in certain cracks and crevices and rolls. But
Baby, talk about it.
right. So I feel like I'm always hyper conscious of that. And I'm just like, I cannot smell. Like I will not smell. Even if I showered, I'll go in afterwards with a baby wipe and some extra, just like to make sure.
Yeah.
But there are some
And
people
that's
who
from
really
the thick and
don't
hefty
care.
bitches right here on the bottom boxes, honey.
Right. But everybody is
Rogelio talk about it.
naturally smelly too.
Listen,
and it
thick
just
and
blows
hefty,
my mind
sweet
that
and
some
petite.
people.
Either way, that shower that you take before sex is going to be the best thing that you can do.
And if anything, do it with them. Like if you aren't sure
Yes.
how to include them in hygiene, just make it fun. Let's get in the shower really quick. Ooh, foreplay.
That's the advice I always say when you smell
Look.
something a little sour when you're down there, like if you're about to give head or eat ass or something like that, like, and you
Yeah.
realize like, oh, smelling a little
Look.
tart, just,
Let me say this to the children, okay? This is coming direct from mother to y'all. If you go to shower and you get out of the shower and your bathroom smells like funk, you need to get back in the shower and open a window, okay? You should never
Oh,
smell
God.
the funk
Right.
after you shower. That's number one. Number two, hair holds funk. So if you don't want to shave
Very
your
true.
pubics, at least trim them down, especially because
Very
those
true.
of us who love oral sex, love to get oral sex, we're not trying to pop back up with a whole bunch of hair in our teeth, okay?
Some
We're
of
not
us
trying to
like
pick out little pubes.
pubes, just FYI. I mean, trim is fine, but some of us like hair. I don't like no shaved, clean. That looks weird. Sorry.
That's
fair.
fine, but there are a lot of people who are very hairy in those areas, but they do not know how to properly wash. And if you have hair, you have to know how. Hair is hair. I don't care where it is on your body. You can shampoo that hair, you can condition that hair, you can spread that hair so that you really get into the base of your genital area, because a lot of people do not wash their pubic hair, and if they have a lot of it, they're not actually
Yeah, you have
getting the
to.
skin that they need to get in order to clean. So if you're going to
I
keep
prefer
your
a
hair,
little low buzz
that's
cut
fine.
down there because I had braces at one point and that wasn't a good experience with hairy.
Well, you know, waxes and shaves. So I don't need nobody picking nothing out of their teeth outside of some honey.
Some free floss.
God, outside of
Yeah, so like I just said, definitely keep in mind, I think the shower with the hair, a lot of people don't realize, and that's like everywhere hair, chest hair, armpit,
Yeah.
really, really make sure. Also something to keep in mind after you shower, I know our instinct is, to put on deodorant, which is fine. If no one's going in your armpits during sex.
No, yeah, don't do the deodorant in my opinion because it doesn't taste good and I like to lick fish. So let's not do the deodorant. It's nasty.
Maybe have like just a natural deodorant. And if you can't shower beforehand, do what my dad calls a French bath or a whore's bath. You get a washcloth, you put some water on that, make sure it's warm water preferably, and you really get into those hot spots, right?
Yes.
Like really get into those areas. Like that's the easiest quick clean anyone can do. Don't be putting hand sanitizer on your hands before you put it in anybody. Keep that in mind too.
Please don't. Yeah, no.
Hand sanitize before I hook up. Ouch! Where do you think it's gonna go? No.
And don't use hand sanitizer as a cleaning solution. If you need a hygiene kit, please reach out to us. We can assist you with that. That's not a problem.
Use
No
lube that's
sanitizer.
meant for lube. Don't use lube that's actually meant for lube. Don't use no Crisco or some Vaseline or anything. I mean, some that might work, but like still, like do not use anything that's not specifically advertised to be like lubricant.
And also, to Rogelio's point too, lube is a great way to make sure that you don't have any accidents. If you are well lubricated, you should be perfectly fine. It won't even stick if you do have a scenario. It won't stick to anybody's parts. And then also to all the cops out there that may be watching, shit happens. And that's no pun intended. Please stop making this such a big deal if it happens. Yes, I get it. You are upset. But don't forget, this is a butt, okay? So at the end of the day, please relax. Do not bottom shame, shit shame, or anybody or anything like that during sex. It just makes the bottom feel like the worst person in the world, like it doesn't happen to anybody else. Because 9 times out of 10, if you turned around and let me do it to you, it would be the same scenario. So relax.
You just need to have a washcloth or a towel on the side. Make sure it's wet already, maybe a dry one. And if it happens, don't even for me, whenever people were like, oh, it was so gross, I had to stop. I was like, so you stopped having sex that you were enjoying because you didn't want to just hooking up, that gives you something that's probably going to happen. Wipe. Do you need to go to the bathroom? Or are you good? You're good. All right, let's keep going. Like, why are we stopping?
Go back to it. Yeah, why are we stopping this?
Grow
I
up.
agree.
Now, this is something that people don't often talk about, and it's something that I don't want any of my tops or bottoms out there that are watching to have to experience in the moment. If you are someone that shaves your genital area, please be mindful that an open shaved pore and sweat do not mix. So if you shave right before a sexual experience and that sweat gets to going and them thighs get to burning, honey, I can tell you right now, you're not going to enjoy that. So
you're not. It's going to hurt.
Make sure that you are planning out when you do your maintenance to your genital area, so that you're not going into a sexual experience with a freshly shaven anything, because let me tell you, that it burns like hell.
Right.
Yes. And you know what? I do want to send us off to our next commercial. One, this was a lot of information. So if you were watching, I hope you took notes. But we're going to go into our next commercial, and then we're going to come back to this for a brief moment and before we go into our quickie. So we'll be right back after this.
And off the mouth.
Hi, my name is Daryl, and I'm a him. And you're probably clicked this video because you're wondering about the U equals U. Undetectable equals untransmittable. These two letters have changed the game for people living with HIV. Oftentimes, people have been afraid of disclosing their status, being intimate, or having been stigmatized for being positive. It's unfair. No one should feel uncomfortable about these things. That's where U equals U comes into play. If you are positive, have been virally suppressed for at least 6 months, and taking your medication, then guess what? The transmission is impossible. Yes, impossible. If you don't believe me, you can ask the Center for Disease Control. They will back this up and have been since 2017 with hundreds of experts and organizations. Now, what does that mean to be virally suppressed? It means that you have 50 or less copies of the HIV virus per milliliter of blood. Now, I know it's hard to imagine, but that's a tiny amount. Taking your HIV medication daily, without fail, most people are able to become undetectable within 1 to 6 months. Now, we wish we could say everyone is able to reach U equals U status, but we know that sometimes it is harder for other people for different reasons. However, for the majority that do reach undetectable and continue to take their medication daily, there are no risks for transmission. Of course, we encourage safe sex practices because there are other STIs that can be transmitted, but HIV won't be one of them. If you have any other questions or concerns, you can contact us here. Thank you guys for watching.
And then that was our boy, one of our Healthy Him ambassadors, Daryl, talking about U equals U, which is very important. I'm glad that he was able to share that commercial with us, and I hope that you learned something about U equals U. But I want to go back to our main topic, bananas and dingleberries. So to end the main topic, I do want us all to share a tidbit of advice for the person that might be watching this, that's never done this before. What would be your parting words for that person? Let's start with Kai.
Oh, parting words would definitely be, and we said it before, take your time. Like really, really, especially if it's your first time doing it or first time cleaning yourself in whatever way, make cleaning a thing. Don't make it an afterthought like, oh, I got to clean myself. Like, make this a thing. So that is brushing your teeth. That is getting in the shower. That is douching or cleaning any kind of other orifice that you're having beforehand. So yeah, take your time.
Hi. Communication is also such a huge part of it, I feel like. I think that we're in this space where we're sex positive. We really encourage people to have those conversations with your partners before you ever hook up so that you can establish, what you like, what you want, what you don't want. And so you could set up those certain expectations, because the worst thing is when you know, are just having a random hookup and then they just turn out to be completely the opposite of what you expect. And that goes for hygiene especially. And just guard against all smells, like everywhere, even where you don't expect them. You know, make sure to change your socks before the person comes over. Make sure to guard against all smells if that's something you care about. I mean, if they're into it, then, you know, do you.
I'm going to say two things. Number one, do your research, ask questions. Don't feel like you are in a silo by yourself where you have to discover this in the moment. There are many of us out here that have been doing this for a very long time, doing it very well. So please, please, please make sure that you do your research and ask questions. And the other thing I was going to say is know your body. You know, despite what we may give you as far as advice on how to do this and how to do whatever, you really do have to know your body and see how your body reacts to certain things. So having that awareness and being able to do the research will put you in a pretty good space.
And I would just say, have fun. All of this is supposed to be fun. Douching is supposed to make you feel good afterwards. It's supposed to make you feel sexy. Have a good time. Definitely, like to echo what everyone else said. Definitely have conversations, ask questions, and don't be embarrassed if a little shit happens.
Shit happens.
How about that? Did you like the little wink? So we're gonna really quickly, before we sign off, I want to get into our last segment of the day. It's going to be the quickie, one of my favorite segments.
Ew.
Yeah. Now, who wants to start?
I can go.
Okay, let's go, Rogelio.
So the main thing I wanted to say was that I think that, not to be the enlightened centrist or whatever, but like I think that there are people on both sides who need to calm down a little bit with the new administration. I think that, you know, on one hand, you know, I gave people the inauguration to celebrate and stand and have their moment of fun. But it's like, I am super against the idea of standing politicians. You know, they're public servants. They're there to make life better for us and for people who are vulnerable and less powerful than them. So I think it's super important that we keep them accountable. On the other hand, I think a lot of people on the other side, it's almost like they're rooting for the administration to fail. And it's like, we can still celebrate when good things happen. We can celebrate the overturning of all these negative Trump policies and the expansion of certain things while still keeping our foot on Joe Biden's neck, because that's what we're going to have to keep doing. Let's not forget that he is the person who ushered in the crime bill, and that he's always been this kind of politician to kind of, you know, be the one to work with Republicans and concede to Republicans. And like we mentioned earlier, 2021 is not a time that we need to be conceding to the Republican Party, which has devolved into this fascist party who supports, you know, hate and not democracy, and, you know, is against democracy. So yeah, both people on both sides need to calm down and just let the administration do what they do. Make sure to keep them accountable, but also celebrate victories when they're worth it.
It's really good. I don't even know how to follow that. I'll go next. California's had its restrictions lifted. We are now able to go back to outside dining and all that good stuff. My biggest thing, my quickie is, please don't ruin this. This is not something to say, oh, you're going to go out and have parties and it's going to be 50 people. And, you know, Governor Newsom said it's okay. So let's all congregate and do this. And we can sneeze at tables. It's just, please, people take certain things so far. I know that there are businesses that have been struggling and stuff like that. So I'm really happy for those businesses that can be able to make their money and support their families. Please, as a consumer, as a customer, please remember to wear your mask, stay safe. Don't be a dick when someone tells you to put your mask on in their establishment. Do not go against what we have already kind of built towards or against the COVID-19. Definitely follow the guidelines. Don't be an ass about it. You definitely want to make sure that this is the beginning steps of us getting back to a new normal. We're not going to go back to normal immediately. And a lot of people need to grasp that. If you're still struggling with that, you need to have a conversation with a therapist. But we're not going to go back to a regular normal where everybody's just hugging and licking on each other's faces. We're not doing that. So definitely follow the guidelines and don't mess this up. In the words of RuPaul, don't bleep it up.
Come on, RuPaul. I'll go for my quickie. My quickie is kind of two things. First, and this is going for everyone for the link, we are going to be getting a new time. So if you're watching right now, starting next week, when we start season 2, we're going to be coming at you guys at a different time. So instead of this 2 o'clock time, 2 to 3, we will now be 4:30 to 5:30. We'll remind everyone again, we'll make posts, but just a little something to keep you going. Also, another thing to keep an eye out for, and this is very in the planning stages, starting in February, I am going to be doing a bi-monthly workshop, basically. And these workshops are going to be very, very limited for the amount of people that can go. We're looking about 10 to 15.
I want a ticket now.
Right? We're looking for about 10 to 15 people. Each workshop is going to be about a different topic, some things that we don't so much talk here, and with people who are able to kind of answer one-on-one questions. This first workshop we have, which will be February 11th, keep an eye out for all the promotion coming soon, is going to be about finding a job in COVID. In 2021, where everything is digital, how do you find a job? And then using resources like LinkedIn, how those things can help you. We have a wonderful, wonderful guest, Oswaldo Navarro. He has been on before and has done resume building with us, with me. So I'm excited to bring Oswaldo back again so we can help you all. If you're looking for work right now, we might be able to help you with the application process. So if you're interested, keep an eye out. We should be getting flyers and Eventbrite's up soon. But remember, it's a limited. It's only 10 to 15. So if you see it, sign up right away. That's it for me.
Nice. And Daniel, give us your quickie.
My quickie is simply this. We are in a whole new year, a new administration, but we are still dealing with the same dangers that we dealt with last year. COVID-19 is very, very real. So even with this vaccine, if you choose to take it, great. If you don't choose to take it, please continue to do all of the things that you know to do to keep you and your family safe. The year has just begun, and I know personally I have lost more people than I want to due to COVID. So make sure that you are socially distancing, washing your hands and sanitizing at every opportunity that you have. And please, please, please wear your mask. And outside of that, continue to be the wonderful individuals that you are and do the best that you can with what you have, because there's only one you in 2020. And so you have all of the opportunity to do what you need to do.
That was very, very nice. Look at that. Ending it on a high note. So I want to thank my co-host today for having such a personal, in-depth conversation. These things, we have conversations about them and some people find them embarrassing. We're using it as education. So definitely keep watching the link every Tuesday. We're going to have a new time coming soon. Oh, my brother's watching. Hi, Teron. I love you. This was a great show. I appreciate you all for being so open. And we will see you next week. This was fun. I love y'all.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone.